spent in a miserable way.
Trump's State of the Union Address fact-check politics. Trump, asking Americans to choose. CNN vetted the president's claims. Claim in. Trump can claim some credit for the acceleration of the economy on his watch, but not most of it. He inherited a labor market in the later stages of a long recovery from the Great Recession, with fairly consistent job creation. Growth in monthly, the economy has added 4.87 million jobs since Trump took office, not 5.3 million, the number he cited. Wage growth has picked up since late 2017, especially for rank-and-file workers, but not to the above 3.5% rate seen in the late 1990s and mid-2000s. Some of the pace, indeed, the economy grew at a rate of 4.2% in the second quarter of 2018, fueled in part by the surge in government deficit spending, as well as a large corporate tax cut that temporarily boosted business investment. By the third quarter, economists forecast a further decelerado through 2019, as the effects of the fiscal stimulus wear off and as businesses and consumers confront higher interest rates. Claim we. This is true, but needs context. The US became the world's largest crude oil producer in August 2018, when it surpassed Russia for the first time since 1999 in terms of total daily crude production, according to the US Energy Information Administration. Earlier in the year, the rise in US oil and gas production is due in large part to advances in fracking technology that allow drillers to access reserves stocked away in shale formations buried deep underground. Production dipped in. The Trump administration often touts its moves to relax Obama-era rules on oil and gas production, such as one restricting the flaring of methane from fracking sites. Trump has also Lydia DePhillis. Claim 1. Indeed, the trek to the US-Mexico border has been reported to be violent. According to data, but this needs some perspective. This very violent, the administration has argued in the past that by building the wall, migrants will be deterred from making the journey. Priscilla Alvarez. Claim you. Trump has repeatedly cited crimes committed by undocumented immigrants both during his presidential campaign and during his tenure in office. This is the second. The Bureau of Justice does not include citizenship in its breakdown of national arrest statistics, so there is not reliable federal data to quantify the number of crimes committed by undocumented immigrants. Here's what the statistics do show on immigration and crime. A 2000 and other studies have found that murder, rape, robbery and aggravated assault have not increased alongside an uptick in undocumented immigration since 1990, that undocumented immigrants do not contribute to an increase in drug overdoses and DUI deaths, and that young, undocumented immigrants engage in less crime than their American or legal immigrant peers. Priscilla Alvarez. National security. Claim we. This is false. You never mind that Afghanistan is in the Middle East. And it's not the first. The non-partisan Congressional Research Service said that between 2001 and 2014, the operational costs for the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan were $1.6 trillion. A CNN found that in order to get to $7 trillion, you have to add future spending, most of which is for veterans over the next 35 years. Nicole Garrett. This is a breaking story and will be updated.
Raindrop, drop top, top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park,